Hey, Bob here, Mohawk Valley Farm, and today I want to give you 9 reasons why you do not want to own a farm. So, in actuality, we love having our farm, but there are a few things to consider. It's not for everyone, and I'm going to give you a few of the things that I wish I would have thought of before we decided to start a homestead here. This is number 9. Just getting up early and having to do the chores. You don't really have an option not to feed your animals, not to water your plants. And so that's an adjustment, yeah. And you can't put everything on automatic sprinklers as much as you'd want to. The 8th reason, number 8, on why you should not have a farm is the dirt. The dirt, if you ask my wife, it's her number 1 reason. There's just a constant amount of dirt on our clothes and on our shoes. And part of it is these guys right here, these pigs, they tear up the place. Let me step over this guy. So these guys here, we've got these are Duroc pigs here. They get to be about, you see like the dirt right there? They get to be about, takes about a year or so, well, not even a year, probably 8-9 months before they're ready to be butchered, but they get to be about 300 and some pounds in the first year, and they'll get to be over 600 pounds if you let them go to full maturity. So, but animals are dirty, and constantly walking around and trying not to step in cow pies and pig poop. And in the wintertime, it's a muddy mess. You know, there's certain areas that they stay in that are dry, but they make a mud hole out of everything. You look over here, you know, they literally dug this out, made a swamp out of it, busted my water thing. They're smart. They know that they need to cool off, and so they make mud holes. And that just seems like a big part of farming is you're constantly walking around in dirt and tracking it into the house. And so that's one of the reasons why you don't want to have a farm. 7th reason why you may not want to have a farm is the animals. The animals are really hard on your property. When we first bought this place, we decided we'd have pigs, and like I said, they dug that mud hole over there, and they tore up this whole thing, and you can kind of see they dig these little trenches and stuff. And this used to be all grass, believe it or not. And over here with the chicken coop, this was all green grass when we started, and it doesn't take long for the chickens to just take off every single blade of grass out of the ground. Even in just a short little amount of time, about a couple of weeks, I expanded this chicken run out to be, you know, twice as long, and there was a little bit of grass in between. They've already destroyed all that. And so just as far as property goes, animals are just really hard on it. We've got 4 Bernese Mountain Dogs, and those 4 dogs, you know, they have the backyard to themselves, and it's just really hard to grow any plants and make them look nice. And dogs dig holes, and yeah, just animals are hard on our property. So that'd be a reason to consider, if you're the kind that likes a nice manicured lawn, a farm may not be the place for you, because if you're going to have animals anyway, because they're really rough on stuff. That brings us to number 6. The one thing I didn't realize when I bought this property, we started doing the homesteading thing, I didn't realize how expensive everything was going to get. Just for example, this chicken coop, you know, we spent $1,000 building just a regular 8x8 chicken coop, and we fell in love with the chickens, and we had a great time. We've had a great time raising them, and of course I want to have more chickens and sell more eggs and all of that. So I had to expand the chicken coop, and you know, wood prices now are out of control. But that's one of the things that I've learned having property and trying to do the homestead thing is just, it gets really expensive. Everything's an investment, and everything's breaking all the time. You're constantly repairing fences, and it feels like there's just a never-ending expense to having a farm. So I'd say you could do it a couple ways. You could probably go slow and take your time, and that might save on some of the expense. But if you're impatient like me, you kind of want to see things happen, and so you got to put some money into it. So number 6 on the list for reasons not to have a farm is that it's expensive. Okay, number 5, vacations. Vacations are a rarity when you have a farm. My wife, that's probably her number one. She really wants me to take time off and take a few days off here and there and go on a vacation. And it's just hard because you got to feed the animals, you got to water the animals, you got to water the garden. And it's not always easy to find somebody that's going to be able to do that for you. So if you love taking vacations, it's going to be either really expensive to hire somebody to help you take care of your animals, or you're going to take really short vacations. Like these cows here, for example, you know, they want to eat, and they don't take vacations with you. So but honestly, is a vacation better than that? That's so much fun. Okay, so the 4th thing that is kind of a big deal, and you don't realize it until you kind of start working your property, is once you buy a farm and you start improving on it, and you're putting in fences, and you're fixing up your house, and you're doing all this stuff that is just every evening and every weekend, you kind of feel like you're stuck on your property. You can't really just pack up and say, that was fun for a while, I want to go move and do it somewhere else. You've got so many hours built into everything that you kind of feel like, that's your home forever. Now, it doesn't have to be. Some people have got more energy than I do, and they don't mind starting all over again. But honestly, I don't want to do this all over again. I want to keep improving on what I have, and I don't want to start from ground zero. So there is an element when you buy a piece of property and you spend several years making improvements, you kind of feel like you're stuck there forever. So that's something to consider in the property you choose. Okay, brings me to my 3rd thing. And this hay reminds me of this because every year we get to cut the hay and load it up and stack it up here in our hay barn, and not everybody likes doing that. And there's a lot of things about being on a farm that your family maybe doesn't enjoy as much as I do. And so, my wife, she likes the idea of having lots of property and all of that, but she doesn't love, feeding the pigs. She likes the chickens, she likes the cows. The pigs, she could do without those. But, so not everybody has the same passion in the family. Your kids, they might like the idea of having a baby goat or something, but they don't necessarily want to do farm chores. So one thing to take into consideration for sure is your family on board with doing that whole homestead life. Because if you're dragging them along, it's not going to be fun for you. So not that everybody has to have the same level of passion for having a farm, but they at least should be buying into the idea, because it's not always fun. Okay, reason number 2. This is one of the hardest ones for my kids. Death. When you have animals, they die, and sometimes not intentionally. We've lost baby chicks before. It just happens. It's part of having a farm. We butcher our pigs, we butcher our cows, we butcher chickens. Not this one. This one's an egg layer. But part of having a farm is you're going to experience some animals dying on the farm, and that's not easy for everybody. And sometimes it's intentional for food for your family. So if that's not for you, they can't all live forever. I know that because you'll go broke. But yeah, death is the hardest part. So you do get attached to your animals. You do sometimes name them. We started out naming some of our animals. We haven't done that in a while. But it's hard to lose an animal no matter what it is, even if it's just a little baby chick. When it dies, what do you do with it? Do you bury it? What do you do? It's not easy. So you got to be a little bit of a calloused, you got to have a little bit of a calloused heart, I think, to be a farmer. Okay. So the number one thing that is a reason not to have a farm is your whole life is nothing but projects now. So every day the list gets longer and longer, and it just feels like no matter how many things we check off our list just continues to grow. So, and part of it's my own fault. You know, we decided we're going to expand the chicken coop and we're going to make a bigger chicken run for them. And, you know, maybe I want to have more cows, or, you know, want to have, you know, more of something else. And so we do it to ourselves, but there is this feeling of the projects never ever end. And they don't always come at the times when you're free to do them. They come at times when you're busy, you're under a deadline. So that's probably the number one thing that is frustrating, is there's this feeling of we're always having to get something done right now because, you know, the fence broke down and the cows are out or whatever. So big thing to consider. One thing to consider when you're owning a farm is you're just going to have a lot of projects to do. So you got to like that. Otherwise, you know, it's not for you. So I know I gave all the things I don't like and all the reasons you shouldn't have a farm. But if you ask me if I would do it all over again, I'd do it in a heartbeat. There's something about the simplicity of a farm, the reliving your childhood memories. For me, it was growing up on some property. My grandparents had a berry farm, a little bit of a berry farm, and so even just eating a raspberry, you know, brings back memories for me, and that's what we're here for. We're here to create our memories for our kids and our grandkids and for ourselves, and there's nothing better for me. I don't think of any other thing I would rather do than to experience what it's like to live on a homestead and just kind of do this stuff, and it's funner than any vacation that I could think of. So, hey, that's our video on 9 reasons you should not have a farm, or maybe 9 reasons you consider before having a farm. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can get updates on when our next video is going to be. We appreciate you watching, and until next time, have a great day.